Alright, so hello and welcome to this Adobe Animate Project 1 tutorial. Okay, first of all, I would like to show you what we are going to be doing in this video. So, this is the animation that we are going to be doing today. It should be pretty simple, and I believe that you are going to be able to follow along. One thing that I want to say is that normally we would work with our images into Photoshop and we would adjust them because right now they are pretty big, but I will show you how you can do this in the next video. So first thing that I did is I opened my browser and I just type Dubai wallpaper free. And I chosen free because I do not want to use any image that I am not allowed. But usually when you work on the real projects, you go to websites like Shutterstock or something like that and you use images from there. So I have these wallpapers in here and I'm going to choose some of them. So you can choose any images that you want, but I am going to work with this one. So I'm going to just download them. So I will click on the first image and I will save it. So I already created this Project 1 Dubai. And this folder is so far empty and we are going to have everything inside here. So you can do this differently, but I am going to do it like this. I will open this folder and I will create new folder, and this one is going to be called images. And inside of these images, I will call this one image 1 and I will save it. Okay, cool. And I will provide you links to these images, but you can choose any images that you want. Okay, so then I'm going to get the second image and it is going to be this one. It is the same place, but it doesn't matter. So I will again save this one and this is going to be image 2. Okay. And then I want to have a last one, and the last one is probably going to be this is going to be my last one image, so I will save this one, again the same place but during the day. Okay, and this is going to be image 3. Okay, and I will save this. Fine. So right now I have my folder Project Dubai 1, and here is another folder with images, and here are all my images. Cool. So now I will open my Adobe Animate. It can take a while, few seconds or a few minutes if you have a slow computer. And now what I need to do is I need to choose my width and height to be 300 by 600. And the reason why we are using this specific width and height is because this is size for AdWords banner. So you can go to the ads and somewhere in here you can look for this one, or you can just type 300 by 600 and hit create. Like this. Okay, fine. So first thing that I want you to do is to go and save your project, because you never know whether your Animate is going to crash or anything like that, and we are going to work with large images. So I will hit Ctrl S, and again I need to go inside of my computer to my Project 1. So here I am, Project 1 Dubai. Here are my images. And I will create one more folder and I will call this folder to be banner. Okay, and inside of this banner I will save my animate file and I can just call it Dubai, for example. Cool. Right now we saved our animate project, but what we need to also do is to set our publish location where our index HTML and our JavaScript is going to be exported. So I already told about this in the first video, but you need to go to File, Publish Setting, then click on this icon, and then again you have to go inside of your computer to your file, so like this. And now I am inside the Project 1 Dubai, and I want to go inside of my banner. Inside of my banner here is the animate file, but you can't see it right now because we have this .js, so there is not going to be animate file visible, but it is in here. And I will create new folder and I will call this exported, and I will go inside of my exported, and you can either leave this to be Dubai.js, or I prefer to call this index, and I will hit save. Okay, you do not have to have the same folders structure as I have, but I prefer to work like this because that is how I am used to work. Okay, so right now I'm going to import my first image. So I will go to my folder, here is my image 1, and I will just drag my image 1 like this. Okay, then I will zoom out a little bit, and you can see that my image 1 is pretty big. This is my canvas, okay, 300 by 600, and this is my image. So I will move my image like this, for example, and always when we are going to animate something, we need to convert the graphic to the symbol. So you can either go to modify and convert to symbol, or you can just hit the shortcut F8, then call this one to be image 1 and hit OK. Okay, so right now we have created our symbol and we are ready to animate this one. So first thing that I want to do is I want to make this image to be smaller. So I can go to this transform, I can click, make sure that you have this constraint checked, because otherwise it would scale like this and we do not want it. So check this one if it's not checked, and then you can make this smaller like this. Cool. I will zoom in a little bit again and I will show you one pretty cool icon, and it is this one, and it is clip content outside the stage. And if I click this one, I will only see what is in my canvas, and this is what is going to be visible in the browser. Okay, so if I unclick this, all of the other part of my image, which is not inside of the canvas, it is not going to be visible in the browser, okay, unless we make some animation. So again, I will uncheck this, and what I want to do right now, right now I'm holding shift and I'm moving this with the mouse, or you can use your shift and arrows. I can go maybe from here, and I want to animate the image to go like this. Okay, so I can start somewhere here. For example, I already created the symbol, so don't forget to do it. And then I will go to maybe frame 140 and I will click F6, which will create new keyframe. So now I have my first keyframe in here and my second keyframe on this frame. And right now what I can do is to go on my second keyframe, and with my shift and arrows I can move it a little bit like this. Okay, be careful, do not go like this, because this would look weird. So maybe somewhere like this. Okay, and now all you need to do is to click anywhere between them, right click and create classic tween. Okay, and now we are going to have this animation. So now I will just save it and I will hit Ctrl Enter, which is my test, and this can take a while, depends on your computer, and here is our animation. Okay, cool. And by default this animation is going to be looping. So when we hit the frame 140, you could see it has looped. Okay, and by default it would loop forever. Fine. What I'm going to do right now is I will create new layer. Okay, so make sure that you create new layer, and to this new layer I am going to import my second image. So I will go to my folder, I will go to my second image and I will drag this image in here. Cool. I will uncheck this one so I can see all of the image. And one thing that is cool about the Animate is that when you scale your image down and up, it is not like a Photoshop. You are not going to lose any quality. Okay, so I will type 100 in here and okay. One thing that I didn't tell you so far is that you can see that my layer 2 has a keyframe on frame 140, and the reason for that is that when I was importing my second image, my timeline, this one, this red, was located on the frame 140. Okay, if I was located on the frame 20, it would create a new keyframe on the frame 20. If I was on the frame 1, it would create a keyframe on the frame 1. But basically it doesn't matter, because all I need to do is drag this keyframe and move it in here, basically like this. Okay, so now what I want to do, I am going to animate this image, so I will hit F8, which is going to convert this to symbol. Do not forget to do this one. I will call this image 2, make sure it is movie clip, and hit OK. Cool. Now I will scale my image again, so maybe like this. Okay, I will zoom in, I will click this one, so I can see what is going to be visible in the browser, and I can maybe start somewhere in here. Okay, like this, and I will go to my frame 140, and you can see that there is not keyframe because this is empty. This is empty square. We will talk about this in the later videos. But what you need to do is click on this frame, hit F6, or right click and insert keyframe. I can do it. Insert keyframe, not frame, not blank keyframe, but keyframe. Insert keyframe, and now I can go to this keyframe, and with my shift and arrows, I can move it a little bit like this. Okay, maybe up to here, for example. And again, I will click anywhere between them. I will right click, and I will create classic tween. Okay, cool. Now, probably you can see that we have our layer 2 and layer 1, and they are overlaying each other. So now when we created the second animation, we do not see the first animation. Okay, we can always hide the second layer like this, and now we are going to see the first animation, but they are over each other. So what can we do? Basically, all we need to do right now is click on the one of the keyframes, then with the shift, click on the second keyframe. So this is how you are going to highlight or select everything, and now we can move this like this. Okay, be careful, do not go to the layer 1 like this. If you do this accidentally, just go back, but stay on your layer and go like this. Cool. So now what we are going to have is we are going to have layer 1, which is the animation of the first image, and it will finish in here, and then it will switch to the new image. So I will save, and I will hit Ctrl Enter. And this Ctrl Enter, this exporting or this testing, it can take a while because our images are a little bit bigger. Normally we would adjust them in the Photoshop. Okay, so pretty cool, I like this. But there is one thing that we can do, okay? And what I want you to do right now is to put your layer 2 to the bottom, so only like this. Okay, so we have layer 1 on the top and layer 2 on the bottom, and again I want to select all my keyframes on the layer 2, so I will click on the one keyframe, with my shift I will select on the second keyframe, and now I will move it a little bit, maybe to frame 120, okay, and now I will go to my layer 1, I will click on the frame 120, and I will hit F6. So F6 will just give me new keyframe, and by adding new keyframe, nothing is going to happen, okay? Unless we move our image on this keyframe. So if I move my image like this, it would be weird, so I will go back, okay? But if I just create new keyframe and I do not do anything, basically nothing will happen, okay? But now I have an option to go to last keyframe on this animation. Then I will have to click on my image, and then in my color effects I can go to the alpha and set my alpha to 0. And what is going to happen, that my animation is going to animate normally like before, but from frame 120 to frame 140 it is slowly going to lose the opacity, and we have already our layer 2 below, so we will see our layer 2. Okay, so I will save, I will hit Ctrl Enter, and you can see after a few seconds that we have first animation, and then this first image is disappearing, and we have second animation. Okay, cool. Then just make sure that your animations are have pretty much the same speed, but it's really up to you. Okay. One thing which is kind of problem with this one is that Imagine that I would like to make my second animation a little bit faster. So what I would do is I would go to this keyframe and I would move it with arrows like this up to the end, maybe up to here. I would save, I would hit Ctrl Enter, and now you will see that my second animation is going to be faster because I made it faster. Okay, so you can see. Cool. But when we created this keyframe and this keyframe for the opacity, right now it would be a problem to do it. So in that case, you can use the shortcut, which is Shift F6, which is going to get rid of your keyframe. So I can hit Shift F6. And there is also the way how you can do it without the shortcut, but I am not really sure right now. So I will go back, and all you need to do is click on your keyframe, hit Shift F6, and that's how you can get rid of your keyframe. Then you could adjust the speed of your animation, but I need to get my alpha to 100 again. Then I could make it like this maybe if I want, and then I can go again, hit F6, go to this keyframe and make alpha to be 0. Okay, so hopefully I didn't confuse you. I just wanted to show you that if you want to change your animation, speed of your animation or anything like that, how you can do it. Okay, so hopefully you get it and we can move on. So we have first animation, we have second animation, and I will make this animation a little bit slower. So I will go a little back like this. Okay. Now you can see that our animation ends in here, and then we have a bunch of empty frames. And I will just quickly show you how you can get rid of your empty frames. So if you want to get rid of them, all you need to do is click after your keyframe. So here is my keyframe, so I will click one frame after my keyframe, and you can zoom in and out if you do not see it. Then I want to click with my shift anywhere behind my last frame, so it doesn't matter if I click here or here. I will just click like this, so I have highlighted all of my empty frames, and then all I need to do is right click and remove frames. Okay, and be careful because there are some other options, clear frames, cut frames, and so on, but I want to remove frames. So I will hit remove frames, and this is how I get rid of all of my keyframes, all of my frames. Cool, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing with the last image. So I will create new layer, make sure that you create new layer, then make sure that you are on this new layer, and now I will show you that if I'm going to be positioned on the frame 1, it will create my keyframe on the frame 1. But if I'm going to be, for example, on the frame 40, my keyframe will be created on the frame 40. So I will keep this on the frame 40. I will go to my folder, I will go to my image tree, and I will import my image tree. Okay, and you can see that my keyframe is on the frame 40. But it doesn't matter because you can very easily move it to frame 1 like this. Okay, I will again uncheck this one. I will zoom out a little bit. I will click F8. I will call this one to be image 3. I will hit OK. Now I will scale this little bit like this. Okay, maybe scale it a little up so I do not get too small. Okay, now I will again click this one so I can see it, and basically one more time I will, with my arrows, go to my start point. So maybe I can start somewhere here. For example, I will go to my frame 140 because I want my animations to be the same length as the other images. Then I will hit F6 for the new keyframe. Okay, and now I will go to my keyframe, and with my arrows and shift I can move it like this, and maybe up to here. Cool. And again I will create classic tween, so hit create classic tween. Then I will get my layer 3 to the bottom like this. Okay, I will get rid of all of these empty frames, so I will click one frame behind my keyframe. Cool. Then I can highlight everything, right click, remove frames. So I got rid of all of my keyframes, all of my not keyframes but empty frames. And now what I can do is I can zoom out a little bit maybe if I want, and I can click and select everything, and I can move it a little bit. And again, be careful, do not go like this. If you accidentally mess up and leave your mouse on the layer 2, for example, you need to go back and do it one more time. Okay, so like this approximately. And now we are going to do the same thing with the layer 2 that we did with the layer 1. So I will go somewhere here, I will hit F6, then I will go on to the last keyframe, I will click on my image, and I will set my alpha to be 0. Cool. So I will save, I will hit Ctrl Enter for the test. Hopefully your Animate do not crash because we have big images. As I said, normally we would make them smaller in the Photoshop. And we have the animation of the first image, then we have animation on the second image, and then at the last we have animation of the last image. Okay? And you can see that the last animation is much slower. So what I can do is I can go to the last keyframe and I can move it like this. Okay? And if you see in your browser that your images do not have good quality, the reason is that if we scale down our images in Animate, it can destroy them a little bit, okay? So that's why normally we would use Photoshop, but I would talk about this in the lesson which is going to be focused on the Photoshop. Cool. So I made the animation a little bit faster. I'm not going to test it right now. I believe that it is fine. We can adjust it anytime. Cool. So I will just save. And what I can do right now is I can create some text. Okay. So first of all, I will just rename my layers. So this is going to be image 1. This is going to be image 2. And the last one is going to be image 3. Okay. And then I will go to my image 1, I will click on the new layer, and now we are going to have a new layer. One thing that maybe you can find a little bit weird is when we were importing images, and we were on the frame 80 for example, and we imported it, it created a new keyframe on the frame 80. But if I am going to create a text, okay, so I will click on the text and I will choose a white color. It doesn't matter whether I am on the frame 80 or frame 200 or frame 1. It is always going to create a keyframe on the first frame, okay? Or if we have an empty layer. So I am on the layer 4 is empty. I will click in here. You can see that it created keyframe on the first frame, and I will type something like, have you ever been in Dubai? And with question mark, and like this. Cool. So now I have my text, and I want my text to be aligned to the center. So what I can do is I can go to my align and I can hit the center. Cool. So remember, every time that we want to animate something, we have to create a symbol. So I will click on my text, I will hit F8, which will open this window. I will call this to be text1, and I will hit OK. Cool. So what do I want to do right now? I want my text to animate in, and I want my text to animate from the bottom, from the 0 opacity. So basically I will go to maybe frame 50. I will hit F6. I will go to my first frame, first keyframe. With my shift and arrows, I will move my text a little bit down. Okay. Then I will click on my text. I will go to alpha and I will set my alpha to 0. Then I will create classic tweens. And here is my animation of the text. Okay. If you watch my first video, Introduction to Animate, you know how you can work with the easings. So we are going to create some easing, okay? So I will click on my first keyframe and I will go to these default options, okay, which we have. And what do we want to do right now? I want my animation of the text to go quickly in, but slow down at the end. So it is ease out, so it is this one, and I will choose the quad, okay? So this graph basically means that we are going quickly in, and then we will slow down at the end. So I will just double click. Okay, so you can see that now we have this quickly in, and it will slow down then. So I will test this, and you can see. Okay, have you ever been in Dubai? Cool. So I will close this, and we can continue. So you can make your animation faster or slower, like this. It's up to you. Okay, and right now what I want is I have my text to animate in, then I want maybe up to frame 90 or 95, I don't know, maybe to frame 100, so F6, and then maybe on the frame 100 and somewhere here, 130, I will hit F6 and I will animate this away. So I will again with my shift and arrows move this like this, and we do not need to get it, wait a second, I will go back because somehow I created 2 keyframes, I didn't want to. So again, go anywhere in here, hit F6, create a keyframe and move it to the top. Okay, then I will click on my text and I will choose my alpha to be 0. I will right click between them and I will create classic tweens. And now my easings, I want my easing to be different right now. I will click on my first keyframe, I will go to my easings, and now what I want is I want my text to go slowly away and then accelerate. So it is easy in. You can see that easy in is slowly at the beginning and then it will accelerate. So I will choose a quad, for example, and I will double click. And now I have my animation to go away like this. Cool. So now I can call this to be text 1, for example, and we are going to create the second text. So all I need to do is create new layer, and on this layer I am going to create a new text. So I will make sure that you are on the layer 5, or I can rename this to text 2. Okay, so make sure that you are on the text 2 and create your text. So now I will just type if yes, did you like it in there? Okay, and if I misspell something, I'm sorry. You can hear that I am not native, so like that. Okay, so if yes, did you like it in there? And now I want to align this to the center of my stage, so I will click this align and I will click this one, so it is aligned perfectly in the center. And again, every time we want to animate something, we want to create a symbol, so F8, and this is going to be text 2, and I will click OK. So again, we have our keyframe on the first frame, but now I want to move this keyframe because my first text will disappear in here. So approximately somewhere here, I want my new text to appear. So I will drag my keyframe in here. Okay, then I will go to maybe frame 170, I will hit F6, okay, and what I want to do right now, I will temporarily hide my text 1, so they don't overlay while I'm working, so I will hide it, and again, I want my animation to be the same as the first one, so with my shift and arrow, I will go down like this, I will click on my text, I will choose alpha to be 0, and now what I can do is right click, create classic tween, and we have the animation like this. Okay, and again I want to create some easings. I will click on my layer on my keyframe, I will go to my classic ease and I will choose easy out, okay? And basically, again, this means that it is going to be fast at the beginning and slow at the end. And again, I will choose quart and I will double click. So now I will show my text 1, and you can see that my text 1 is going away and my new text is coming, okay? If we want, we can highlight the keyframes on the text 2 and we can move them a little bit in here. So we can make it that this is leaving and this is coming and this is too much. So I will make it like this, okay? So animation is an art, so it depends up to you what you like and what you don't like. Okay, cool. So we have something like this. And again, right now what I can do is my animation or my second text, if yes, did you like it in there? It can stay a few frames, so maybe up to frame 220. I will hit F6. Then I will go to maybe 200 and something. I will hit F6 again. And on this keyframe, I will move it with my arrow to the top. I will click and I will choose my alpha to be 0. Then again, I will create classic tween. Okay, and we have this kind of animation. And again, I will click on my keyframe in here, and I will go to my easings. And right now I want to choose my easy in. Okay, because when my text is leaving, I like my animation to go slowly at the beginning and then move fast. Okay, so you can have the slow animation while it is leaving. And when my text is coming, I want my text to come quickly and slow down at the end. Okay, hopefully you get it. If not, I will create a comprehensive video about this easing, so don't worry. So for now, I will double click on the quart, and you can see that my text right now is animating away. Okay, cool. Now I want to get rid of all of these empty frames because I do not need them. So again, I will click one frame after my keyframe. Then with Shift, I will select everything like this, and I will click to remove frames. Or there is a shortcut, but this shortcut is going to be my secret. Okay, I will tell you later on. Okay, or I can tell you it's Shift F5. But I do not want to overwhelm you with the shortcuts. So cool. And now we are going to create the last one, text. So I will create new layer. This is going to be text. Text 3. Okay. Like this, text 3. Okay. And now you can see that we have maybe a little problem because the background on this image is white. So basically what I will do is I will create a black text. So I will go to my text, I will choose my color is going to be black. Make sure that you are on the text 3 layer, not on the other layer, and just type in here. Okay, and what I'm going to type is, if not, would you like to go there? Okay, something like this. And again, I will align my text to the center, like this. Cool. Then I have to convert this to the symbols, so F8. I can call this one to be text 3. I will hit OK, and I am ready to animate it. One thing that I want to mention, maybe you are wondering when we are naming these symbols, where are these names? If you go to library, here are all of your images. So image has this icon, and all of your symbols, which is this icon. Okay, so just you know where it is. So I will go back to my properties, and I can animate this one. So I have my text 2, and I already animated my text 2 away. Okay, so what can I do right now is I can drag my keyframe and put it in here. Okay, somewhere. And now I will go to maybe frame 290, hit F6 one more time. Okay, and then again I will go to my first frame with Shift and arrow. I will go down. I will change the opacity of this one to be 0. Then I will create classic tweens, and when I have classic tweens, I can do easing. So I will create. Right now I can go and create my custom easing because Here are some default options for the easings, but you can create your custom easing. So I will go to edit easings, and in here I can change my easing. So again, I want my animation to start quickly and to be slow at the end. Okay, and I will hit save and apply. And you can see that my graph right now was the same as it is with the easy out. Okay, so you can either create your own easings or you can choose one of these. Okay, cool. So here is my animation. If not, would you like to go there? And then I do not want to change this. So I have something like this. I will save. Now I will hit Ctrl Enter. It can again take some time because my images are big. So I will have to wait a few seconds. Hopefully your Animate do not crash. And here I have my image one and text one. Then there is new text and new image and last text and the last image. Okay, cool. So I think that we are done. We can of course adjust some speeds of this, some length of the keyframe. For example, I can move this maybe in here. Cool. And if I want, for example, but I just want to show you, this is not the maybe best way. I can click on this movie clip. Okay, so I can double click, and now I am inside of this movie clip. And inside of this movie clip, I can create new layer. Okay, so I have layer 2 and layer 1. I can put my layer 2 to the bottom, and I can change the color of my text, maybe to white like this. And then I would go to layer 2. I will hit the shape tool. I will choose the black color, and I can create shape like this. Okay, I can hit Q to adjust this little bit, for example, like this. Ooh. Okay, I can scale this little bit. And then what I can do is make the opacity a little lower like this, and I can hit Ctrl Enter. And hopefully you understand what I just did. I showed you how you can create shapes in the first video, in the introduction. So if you didn't watch it, I encourage you to go and watch it. And now you can see that our last animation is going to have a white text, but it is going to have some black background so we can see the text. So this is really up to you, whether you want to do it like this or not. I can very easily delete this one, change the text back to black, and we are where we were before. Okay, cool. So the last thing that I'm going to show you before we will end is how you can stop your animation. And for this one, we are going to create some JavaScript code. Okay, so prepare, because we are going to write a JavaScript. But we are going to create a very, very, very simple one. So I will create new layer. I will call this layer to be code. I will click on the first frame. I will right click. I will choose actions. Then these actions, it will open my text editor, and all I have to write is this dot stop and parentheses. Okay, so this is it, nothing more. Don't worry, this is not JavaScript course. So only this dot stop, and the semicolon is optional. You can or you do not need to. So I am not going to do it. And with these two arrows, I will close this one. And now when I did this, I have this little keyframe with this A, which means action, which is from the action script, but right now Animate runs on the JavaScript. And what I want to do is I want to move this to the end, because if it is on the beginning, I can show you. I will hit Ctrl Enter. My animation will stop at the first frame, because there is my code to this dot stop. Okay, but if I move this to the end, okay, and make sure that you stay on your layer, you do not go like this. So stay on the layer, go to the last frame, and now your animation will animate like this, and then it will stop. Okay, and this JavaScript is cool because if you know how to either write JavaScript or all you need to do is just copy and paste some codes, you can make something like animate this 2 times and then stop, or something like that. So yeah, this is how you can create your HTML5 banners. And in the later video, I will show you how you can prepare your banner for the use in the AdWords, okay? But I will create a general video so I do not have to do it in every project. Alright, so I would like to thank you for the watching. If you watched up till here, I am really thankful. If you like this video, please hit like, share it with your friend, subscribe. I'm going to be creating much more of these videos. And if you have any questions, any suggestions or anything like that, you can leave the comment. And again, thank you very much and see you in the next video. Goodbye.